Let me call upon stage Jackky Bhagnani, the actor, producer, and the man who's put this project together. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please?
सेंटर लगाने का बोला।
अरे सेंटर में क्या रखो यार?
एक सेकंड बोल। हाँ नहीं सेंटर में ना।
इधर रखवाइए ना कुछ।
मतलब नहीं है वहाँ पर।
मतलब नहीं।
ये कॉन्फ्रेंस का फॉर्मेट ही ऐसा है, चेंज नहीं कर सकते।
चलो ठीक है। लाइट वालों जरा।
Next, I would like to invite actor Prachi Desai on stage, please. You've seen her in films like Rock On 2 and Once Upon a Time in Mumbai Dobara. And next, she will be seen in a horror fantasy, Kosha.
ऑडियो ब्लास्ट हो रहा है। इसको बोल जा रहा ऑडियो का। ऑडियो ब्लास्ट हो रहा है।
Next, I would like to invite Gotham Gupta, the producer and the COO of FutureWorks India. He's the producer of Kabul along with Deepshika Deshmukh, and unfortunately Deepshika was not here present with us today. Next, and finally, I would like to invite the director and the writer duo, Desai and Maitrey ma'am on stage, who have made this film.
ऑडियो फुल चेंज।
So we have a few questions for everyone, and we'll start with Jackky sir. Can you tell us about your association with Royal Stag Barrel Select, large short film?
ब्लास्ट हो रहा है।
Hello.
अब ठीक है।
What's the question?
So can you tell us about your association with Royal Stag Barrel Select large short films?
I think the association has been great. I reached out to them because they have built this platform, especially for short films. The concept was so new. This is the first time anyone has ever attempted something like that, and it was difficult for us also because if we went too sci-fi-ish, we were scared if people get it, people don't get it. So that was the attempt from our side to convey this message of social global warming and not yet be preachy and have a story format. So it's been great, and Royal Stag Barrel Select large short film have been very supportive.
Thank you. Okay, so, Jackky, so next question compared to a feature film.
I think the lines are getting blurred as an actor, filmmaker, producer, or as a cinema lover. As long as you like the content, it doesn't make any difference. You have to give your 100% in whatever you do.
And how was your experience while shooting for the film?
It was outstanding. I think Desai and Maitrey have done a great job. It's the first time I'm working with Prachi. It was amazing. Prachi, Nawazbhai and Yashpal sir, they are such seasoned actors, and it was difficult for me to cope up with all of them, but I tried.
Thank you. Next question from Prachi ma'am. What was your motivation to come on board for Kabul?
Firstly, hi everyone. I really hope you enjoyed the film. If there's anything you missed, please go back and watch it again. I would say that the first time that my director and writer met me regarding this film, I was actually blown with the concept itself, and that's when I already said yes to them, even before hearing out the whole 25-minute film. And I just thought that it's a huge privilege to kind of be a part of something like this, which has never been done before. I knew it was going to be one of its kind and a beginning, a start to something. I think that's going to kind of create a stir around here, because I think from here on people are going to be a little more adventurous, fearless, to kind of tell their version of a story with a subject like this. So I'm just so glad to be part of something that's the first of its kind. And I love the idea of playing not a human, so a robot, an android. I just thought that was very interesting, because until pretty much, till almost the end, you kind of lead everybody to believe that you're normal, you're a human, but it just turns out to be something else. And I love the idea that I didn't know in the film that I am an android. So everything about it was just amazing. I was actually, I'd say, very pleasantly surprised about the way that it's all been put together, because as we all know, it's a short film. I actually, not just me, everybody who's also here, not here, everybody just wanted to be a part of this collectively on the whole, without looking at any individual gains, you know, that anything that we were going to get out of this film. So it was just because of our love for this subject that we wanted to be a part of it. And that's all, I guess it shows right there. Yeah. Thank you to them actually for making me a part of this, and Jackky as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now a question for both the directors. How... Yeah. So who's going to answer first?
Depends on the question.
So how impactful do you think short films or films with such messages are? Such important social messages?
Short films, the accessibility to watch a short film is way more than watching a feature length, because you don't have to go anywhere. You can watch it on the phone or on YouTube, on your computer. So the accessibility of films like these and other short films is way more. So they can create a deeper impact on the audience. Yeah, you don't have to pay for popcorn or anything. You can just watch it at the comfort of your home.
Popcorns are getting expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Especially the cheese can.
So what about you?
About what? The same question?
Yes. Why not? We'll see a different view from your
I
end.
think he answered it.
No, they are very in sync. They never have a different view, like the both.
So just to clarify, they are very shy. That's the first time they are sitting on the stage. So it's okay. Please take your time and सुनेंगे.
I think he answered it.
शेरो शायरी बहुत अच्छा करते हैं रमीश. रमीश एक शेर अर्ज किया जाए इस मौके पे. इन्होंने मेरी हिंदी बहुत साफ कर दी और उर्दू भी.
I think मेरे ख्याल से first of all I would like to thank Royal Stack, Barrel Select Large Short Films. I think it's a great platform for films like this, because we have freedom to kind of put out something which is unimaginable, and it's really important to put out things that are going to matter, especially in the future, if not today. Keeping in mind the situations across the globe that we see that there's a lot of war, there's a lot of violence, and we take everything for granted. So in a feature-length film, it gets a little preachy in a way. So in a short film, you're to the point and you say exactly what you want to say. So I think it's a good platform, and short films are the future, I think.
Thank you so much for that answer. Now, Jackky sir, a question for you. Now, you have been in the industry for a very long time. So do you think short films will take...
Now you're making me feel very old, but yeah.
So do you think short films will take over the main feature films in the industry? And can you see a trend shift?
I personally feel that if you make good content, that will supersede something which is average, as simple as that. So if it's in a short film format, then I'll go there. If it's good content in a film, I have no problem spending the money and going there. We've already seen that in Bahubali, the numbers which we've never seen before. So it's actually great for all of us. It's going to keep us on our toes. And it's very, very clear that the audience will not take gimmicky or below average product. So, which is great for any industry to, buck up and, change the gear. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. Now, any questions from the media?
Arun.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Jigar. I'm from Mumbai Live. My question is to the makers. First thing, one, why a buffer period of 50 years from 2017 to 67 first? And what kind of a ground research did you guys do before presenting a strong topic like this? Because this is really going to make an impact, and there's something that people can take away from this film. So any kind of a ground research that you've done before writing the script?
So 50 years is just an imaginative leap, because we did not want it to be 100 years, otherwise the viewer would not actually feel the pinch of the film that we are trying to convey. And 50 years was something which nobody could predict, and yet it is, it is within reach, and it is coming. Yeah, so care about what you see in 50 years. And as far as the research is concerned, so we looked up about global warming, and we tried and figure out what is going to happen because of the carbon emissions and because of the whole issue of climate change and the global warming. And we have seen these erratic weather patterns across the globe. We are experiencing it right now in Bombay, which is, there is no rain for the whole month of August and July. So that was, and then we watched a couple of documentaries on the subject in trying to understand. But the film does not represent a researched or a specific point of view. The film is trying to alarm you that something like this can happen. Like 50 years back or say 70 years back, nobody would have ever imagined that we will all be buying water bottles and packaged drinking water. So the imagination is just that in the future, if the oxygen is impure and people are trying to sell you oxygen, what would happen and what would it lead to? So that was the idea behind the whole thing.
Sorry, I have another question as well. Short films are taking a really strong stage, considering now that it's going to be at Mami and other film festivals as well. Are you planning to take it internationally, because it has a really international appeal and the subject is really, again, related to global subject?
Yeah, we are working on it. We are working on it.
Thank you. I would like to add on it. In terms of research, we saw before the flood, and what hit me like a bullet when we were sitting last year, we saw the smog in Delhi, and when we saw Leo's film, it just hit me that after post 2040 there will be no snow on Earth, and there is nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is if we do something like this or make stories like this and make people aware, then you can push that. But there will be no snow on Earth after a certain point. So there are a couple of things like that, and we have so many people working on it. So our plan was, instead of preaching people and giving statistics which is there online, we all know that there is a problem, but taking this approach where you're telling them a story and using all the things which could go wrong in the near future, and I just feel that hits you slightly more. Originally our plan was 2047, 100 years of independence, but then a lot of people who saw, they said, yaar, bahut paas hai, utna believe nahi hoga, bahut dur bhi nahi kar sakte. So that's why 2067, 50 years is.
Thank you so much.
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
You know what happened last year in Delhi on Diwali? There was so much of smog. That was going on our minds. And last year, in the building I live was getting in some repairs. So for 24 hours there was no electricity for one day, and the next day for 10 hours there was no water. So in that time I felt like a refugee, technically. And then we started talking about it, that it's so simple. We take everything for granted. Everything. So what if we all get into a situation someday when it's too late? Right now we have refugee situations in Iraq and Syria, in Palestine. The world is going through a tough time right now. So what if we are so busy fighting each other and not really giving importance to nature, because of which we are all alive? So it was more of an imaginative leap in terms of fiction, so that we could put it out there as an alarm. That's it.
Thank you so much.
There's been a lot of maturity as far as the acting is concerned from your side, because you've always done peppy roles. Who would you attribute this acting shift?
Firstly, I would like to thank you. That's the first time I've heard that in my life.
No, I mean, it was something which was actually a standout in the film. And being a producer also, what do you feel is the ROI you expect from this futuristic film? Because it doesn't preach a message heavily, but at the same time it's too ahead of its times to come on YouTube or whatever it is.
So it was a conscious decision not to be very preachy in terms of message, because then, especially, we just felt that we are still trying to achieve so much in life. We are also still trying to figure out what's the problem. So I don't think I should be sitting there reading out of a manual saying, yaar, ye problem hai, ye kara karo, isse ye problem solve ho jayegi. So that's why we thought, let's take this story format. As far as acting is concerned, I think it's the directors, and I think I've experienced more life. I've seen a lot of failure and success, and you can emote much more. And then working with supreme actors like Prachi, Desai and Yashpal sir, I think that helped me a lot. But that really it really meant a lot. Please send me your address. I have to send you some flowers.
Okay.
I've heard dancer. I've heard producer son. I've heard body. I've been dying to hear acting. So thank you so much.
But do you feel that short films is the way forward for most actors, because you have top Bollywood actors also drifting into short films? So as a producer, do you feel you will continue making more such films?
See, as a producer that I've produced Sarabjit and this one, there's no revenue model here. So, you know, and large short films have started this platform for people like us, which is great. And short films is more about putting your message out. It's still evolving, you know, because people, it's not released in theaters. You don't pay and go watch the film. But yes, it's a great format to do something new. And, you know, for audience also to feel that, okay, we are not paying for it, but we are getting to see it on YouTube. And if it's through these kind of films, we can push the envelope and know if people would want to see something like that in a feature length also.
Thank you.
We have a question.
I just want to check, how did you visualize this? Before that, I would like to say that probably it's coinciding with just around 10 days ago we had the Gorakhpur deaths, and that matter was related to the oxygen. But the cylinders were bigger, not the ones like he carried. One thing which I found a bit sort of funny was the oxygen bottles which were kept, those were Bisleri bottles. You could have made it much more technical and mechanical in look.
I have an answer to that.
Yeah. And my question is, how did you visualize this? I mean, 50 years later, I felt that it could have been much more crisp and much more sharper and much more better.
Visualization was the director's concept, and as future works, we were just interpreting what they were trying. As a short film, and as Jackky mentioned earlier, you know, these have limited budgets. There are no revenue models. We got to make best with whatever we can. We did try and use different ideas to, you know, make it look more realistic. As we mentioned earlier, we could not use 2047. It was 2067, so we don't even know what 2067 is going to be like. In terms of those Bisleri bottles, if you see, we've added those, you know, digital caps with locks and all over there. So that's the most we could do with the resources we had. The idea is not about, you know, just giving people to know what it is all going to be about. Water will be locked in barrels, whether it's, you know, kept in Bisleri or whatever. That was the idea. So that was our visualization, not about how we make it look gadgetry. You know, start with that. One second. Say something about it?
No, he's asking about Bisleri, and what Gotham said is actually correct. When you're making short films, you have a budget and you need to achieve something like that. So we've already pushed the envelope in terms of VFX, in terms of this. And yes, if we wanted, obviously we would want to compete with all our foreign films, but then yes, budget is always an issue because there is no revenue model as such. So there were many more things we could have done, but then there's a cost.
And why carbon? Why not O2?
Because that's the whole point. O2 will not be there, carbon will be there. So अगर कुछ free है तो carbon ही है. Free में carbon ही मिलेगा, oxygen में नहीं मिलेगा. But thank you so much for your feedback.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm from Stardust. I actually wanted to ask what I wanted to have a clear picture of what Nawazuddin Siddiqui's role was. I was not really clear about what it was.
Sir, can I say?
Nawaz is actually playing somebody from, he's like a contract killer who lives on Mars, and he left Earth when he was like 5 years old. So now he's come here to finish some job, and because he lives on Mars, he's never experienced pure oxygen. So, and when nobody is experienced, when he is not experienced pure oxygen, he wanted to do that. So he called up some people who smuggle it, and he calls, Jackky goes to deliver him that oxygen, and in that confusion Jackky ends up shooting him. So that's what his role is about.
And what is that saying to the audience? Like, what message does it give to the audience? Like,
what Nawaz's character actually says to Jacky's character is actually, he's looking at Earth from Mars' point of view. So he's somebody who's looking at Earth very objectively. So he's saying to Jackky that for people like you, it's all over. and because when I descend from my shuttle, all I can see is carbon and things like that. So he's trying to tell him that it's all over for you guys, and one day your planet is just going to shake and it will be end for your planet. So that's what his character tells him. That's what we wanted to tell the audience.
Thank you.
Qayamat kishton mein aayegi. That's what the point is.
Anyone else? The photo, please, and request all the...
अरे यार सेंटर
नहीं हो पाएगा क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम ये फॉर्मेट है वॉइस टाइम फॉर्मेट।
अरे सेंटर बोलो सर, आइए जैकी भाई,
आप आगे जाओ ना भाई साहब।
अरे कम क्लोजर। नहीं प्रॉब्लम पीछे ही है ना। यस सर, ऑल ऑफ यू सेंटर जाओ।
Right.
कराइए ना आगे 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 जाना।
Guys, that's an LED background. Can you shot on this side? This is reflecting against that. Yeah. So let's just come to this side.
इसलिए यहाँ वो ही कह रहे थे। Yes.
Little more. Come on, Ramesh, like this side. A little more this side. That's a whiter LED thing.
अरे मुझे बाहर जाना तो क्या ही करते।
Okay.
Yep. Right, all of you right.
Right.
All of you look here.
All right.
हो गया तो बता देना।
Prachi ji, right थोड़ा.
Look here. Thank you. Solo. Right से right से।
Right. अरे रुक जा।
तो यहाँ पे सेंटर में मैम। जैकी सर इसे। मला मारा रहा है सर यहाँ पर एक तमाम। Thank you. चल गए? तो मेरे को बात नहीं करना। सोलह राइट ला। जैकी भाई। Prachi here, right? Prachi here, one more.
Prachi ji, please.
Prachi here.
Prachi ji.
Thank you.
Now, Jackky sir.
Jackky sir.
Jackky भाई. Jackky भाई यहाँ पर सेंटर.
Hello sir.
ये फोटो का राइट सर.
Jackky sir, right. Jackky sir.
रुको.
Jackky sir, right.
Jackky sir. खड़ा. Jackky sir.
ये चाहिए।
So here.
चलिए सर, आप
ये सुनो ना।
लार्ज फिल्म हमने देखी जो कि बहुत ही ब्रिलियंट, जो कि आई थिंक आने वाले फ्यूचर को आप लोगों ने दिखाने की कोशिश की है। जानना चाहेंगे कि कैसा रहा एक्सपीरियंस एंड प्राची जी आपका वो रोबोट बनके का एक्सपीरियंस और आपका ये इस फिल्म में ओवरऑल, क्योंकि आप प्रोड्यूसर हैं, एक्टर भी हैं, आप बताइए।
मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत अच्छा रहा। ये पहली बार मैंने कुछ किया है कि इसमें कोई प्रेशर नहीं है कि ये थिएटर में रिलीज़ होगी। ऐसा हमने सिर्फ जाके मज़ा किया है, एक मैसेज था जिसको एक स्टोरी का रूप दिया है. एंड आई थिंक रमीज़ एंड मैत्रेय हैव डन अ ब्रिलियंट जॉब बिकॉज क्या है कि इसके लिए हमारे पास कोई रेफरेंस पॉइंट नहीं था कि 2067 में अगर फिल्म है, इंटरनेशनल फिल्में बहुत बनी है लेकिन हिंदुस्तानी फिल्म पर हमें कोई वैसा कॉपी नहीं करना था. तो बहुत सारे ट्रायल और एरर हुए, थोड़ा सा R&D हुआ और ये कैसे करें, इसको कैसे दिखाएं, सबको समझ में भी आनी चाहिए और ज़्यादा टाइम भी नहीं है, 20-22 मिनट में पूरी कहानी कहनी है. तो इट वॉज सो मच फन, इट वॉज लाइक गोइंग बैक टू स्कूल. एंड मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा प्राची के साथ काम करके. शी इज़ अ फिनोमिनल एक्ट्रेस. एंड नवाज भाई ऑल्सो एंड यशपाल सर. बहुत अच्छा लगा. एंड आई थिंक मुझे तो मेरा कॉम्प्लीमेंट ऑलरेडी मिल चुका है.
जी हाँ. प्राची जी, वो रोबोट का अगर एक्सपीरियंस को शेयर करना चाहें कि कैसा रहा?
आसिफ, ये पूरा एक्सपीरियंस था बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग था मेरे लिए. आई थिंक फॉर मी आई वाज रियली ब्लोन विद द कॉन्सेप्ट इटसेल्फ. हम लोग काफ़ी बात करते हैं करंट विद द करंट सिचुएशन, विद द वे दैट वी आर नॉट लुकिंग आफ्टर द एनवायरनमेंट एंड एवरीथिंग एल्स, द काइंड ऑफ हार्म दैट वी आर कॉजिंग. But I think that we were, apart from reading about it, apart from only talking about it, I guess it's a wonderful thing that Jackky and our directors came up with the idea of telling a story. क्योंकि इसके ज़रिए I think ये message बहुत सारे लोगों तक पहुँच सकता है. So it's not just you and I who are well versed with the media या जो internet पर environment के बारे में पढ़ते हैं. I think this will go out to a lot more and I hope it does. And I think it's usually अगर एक short film के format में किसी को एक story बताई जाए तो it hits you harder than otherwise. So I just thought it would be wonderful to be a part of it and to play an android. It was fantastic.
Sir, for me, my question is, this movie, do you think that it will become some kind of revolution?
Obviously I would hope for that, but that's वो intention नहीं है कि ये revolution बने या ये कुछ बने. क्योंकि एक बहुत थिन लाइन थी कि मैसेज भी पहुंचाना है, एट द सेम टाइम हमें एंटरटेन भी करना है. सो इट वाज अ डिफ़िकल्ट टास्क. प्लस आज की कहानी नहीं थी. सो हमने अपने तरफ से पूरी कोशिश की है कुछ नया करने की. बाकी तो ऑडियंस के ऊपर है. इफ़ दे लाइक इट, रेवोल्यूशन तो वो बनाएंगे. हमारा काम तो है प्रोडक्ट को बाहर रखना.
तो फाइनली अपने फैन को देना चाहिए.
मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि प्लीज़ वॉच दिस. होप यू लाइक इट. वी नीड ऑल द सपोर्ट.
प्राची जी, आपसे भी कि लार्ज शॉर्ट फिल्म है आपके फैंस के लिए.
Sure. I'd just like to tell all the fans that you must watch this short film. We've made it with a lot of love and a lot of thought. So do watch it. I think आप खुद देखिए और सबके साथ शेयर भी ज़रूर कीजिए. I would really hope if this is kind of this is shown at different colleges or institutes or schools because they are the most impressionable people, and I think that they genuinely care more than grown-ups, more than people like us, if I may take the liberty to say so. So I think that kids should definitely be shown something like this. I think because they are the future and so are we. We should all do our bit. Do watch it, do share it, and give us your support.
Thank you.
Yeah.